Hey folks, I told a little bit of a story a little while back about how I had a complicated history to how I ended up in a PhD program. So I thought I would tell you guys a little bit about how I got to where I am today. I was a really bad high school student. Like, a really bad high school student. Actually, I was a pretty much bad all of school student. Through all of elementary school, through all of high school, my marks were horrible. I had ADHD, but this was in the age when people still didn't want to diagnose people that often with it. So I very rarely, I got put on Ritalin for like 1 year, but besides that, I was basically just told that I was a terrible child and just was a worthless person. For most of my education, I was just considered like a lazy loser. I graduated high school, surprisingly, with a D- average, where, there's no hope of ever getting into any sort of university with that. But that was okay for me because my plan was to go to audio engineering school and become a record producer or a musician or a musical theater singer or something like that. I did that. I went to audio engineering school. I did a full year of it, and I failed a handful of classes to the point where I had to take an extra semester. When I was in that program, I realized very quickly that it wasn't for me. I was with people who had way more passion, who were willing to burn the candle at both ends for this, and it was just not my place. But the work that happened during that year gave me this sort of trial by fire, and I learned how to be a more effective person. Not a completely effective person, that would come by much later. But I learned how to work much more than I was in high school. Let's just say that. But after that year, and this is by the way, by the time I actually give up and everything like that, this is probably by January of 2008, after the Christmas holidays had passed, I had dropped out of audio engineering school, and I had basically no prospects for what to do with the rest of my life. But I decided that there had to be some way for me to get into something that was a worthwhile career. I don't mean lucrative career, just something that I didn't hate, because by that point I was kind of stuck. So I got myself a really basic job as an inventory clerk. It was really crappy. The worst part about that job is that they did not tell us ever when the shifts were over, because they were based on clients. So there was no one place we worked, so we had to go to different places all the time, and the shift ended whenever our job was done. So we made a cottage industry out of predicting when our days would be over. It was so much fun. And I went to night school. I needed to upgrade my high school mark. So I took night school, high school English. It was pretty easy, but it did the one thing that I was really trying to do, which was get my marks high enough to get into something called the General Arts and Science program, which is a program that a community college runs nearby my house that takes people who did poorly in high school, like myself, and sort of give them the 2 years to upgrade their marks and get prepared to go to university, which has a higher tuition and is a little bit more stringent about who they accept. They actually made deals with universities so that I could, so that if you did well enough in this program, you could actually get instant admission into the university. And I did that. I did 2 years, and I did fairly well. I basically went to a real-life version of Greendale. I ended up getting actually 100% in a handful of courses. It was a joke. I was getting better at working like an adult, I suppose to say. So from fall of 2008 to April of 2010, this was the program I was in. I was going to community college, I was coming home, and that was basically all I did. September of 2010, I did well enough in the program that I got accepted into a university, and I started my undergrad at the age of 21. I was a 21-year-old first year. Despite my D- in high school, I did well enough in university to get accepted into a master's program, and I did a master's, I did another master's, and now I'm doing a PhD. So I think it was a long road, but I eventually somehow got through. And I think that that's an encouraging story that I try to tell people, because I think that we put too much emphasis on high school, specifically on teenagers who really don't know what they want to do with their life, and think that how they perform in high school really determines the rest of their life. And I want to tell you that it's not necessarily true. There is a longer path that does get you to where you need to go. And if you have a mind for it, you can get yourself to a lot of interesting places no matter what. So Grades are not destiny, guys. Grades help, though. Anyways, until next time, I'm Tristan, a historian, IRL.